Hello, I'm Chris the Contemplative, and this is a trailer for my Awake show, which will be about Catholics. It will be something just for the Catholics. I hope you tune in, 1 p.m. Eastern this Saturday. And this is very important. I hope this gets out to as many people as will hear me out. And this is about the very confused, weak Catholics that I believe Michael Voris is shedding light on. Now, Michael Voris is a traditionalist, but he is now seeing the priorities or has seen it for quite some time. There are two infantile versions of Catholics that we need to soldier up, man up, saint up during these times that are dropping the ball completely. And I'm not talking about the corrupt clergy, of which we all know about. We all know about the corruption going on in the hierarchy. I'm talking about those that can step up and make a difference. I'm talking about those that Blessed Fulton Sheen believed would be those who saved the church. I'm not seeing this anymore. Where is everybody? You look at the prayer channels like Frontline TV, you look at uh, Church Militants' prayer views, Professor Roy Schoenman's, and even here, we don't really have nearly 50% of the subscribers praying. So, what's going on here? Whenever there's a comment section, whenever there's a scandal report, everybody is super interested. Perhaps we are letting our ears being tickled right out of gaining a crown. Perhaps we are more interested in gossip or hearing about bad things than actually doing something about them. And there are two camps that are at fault, at least on Catholic YouTube land. The first is these rad trads, these people that only talk about the Latin Mass. It is so ridiculous. The Latin Mass is not the top priority, fellas. You're just going to have to humble yourselves, stop crying like little babies, and just realize that we're in a war. Can you get over it already? In a war, you get battle wounds, and honestly, this is not that bad of a battle wound. Okay? You know what actually sends people directly to hell? I'll tell you what, it isn't not going to the perfect liturgy. It's people not believing in the state of grace or the sacrament of confession, receiving the Lord. That's one of them. It's also people not praying for the conversion of souls. That's another. Mother Mary tells us about that. It's also the flirting with socialism and globalism politically and modernism. But I'm not talking about the modernism of just being irreverent in liturgy. I'm talking about actually trying to conform with the spirit of the world and all of its messed up values. That's how people end up condemned. It's not people not challenging pro-choice Catholics and being too scared to bring up something that will condemn you if you support it. It's the jab push of abortion tainted vaccines. That'll do it. That'll do a number, especially by the hierarchy. Why are some of these people putting Latin Mass over these issues? It's so ridiculous. They need to shut their mouths. And if they're really serious and scared about what's going on, they should be one, praying more, and two, focusing on these issues. Let me tell you something. If resisting the spirit of the Antichrist in the world ends us up as hobos playing guitar at an outdoor mass in tents, but we ended up saving more souls focusing on these issues, then I say it's a job well done. I say that's more than enough pain and gain worth the reward. And if you actually believe that it's not worth it and you prefer Latin Mass with a few lukewarm, non praying Catholics over that scenario, then you have a whacked out understanding of God's priorities, of what the soul is. And it just doesn't surprise me that some of you are Latin Massing yourself out of the church viva the SSPX and then into sedevacantism, vis-a-vis, excuse me. I sometimes slur my words a little bit when I'm angry. And then you have the other aisle, the other confused, weak Catholics. And they're just these quietest people. They want to watch their little EWTN and stick their heads in the sand and believe that one day, if they just pray, it'll all go away. That's not how it's going to work. That's quietism. It says in the Bible that the children of Mary will defeat the children of the devil. It does not just say Mary will defeat the devil. So you need to get your stuff together and stop the quietism, and at the very least be against the issues I just discussed. At the very least, pray against them and try your best to get yourself out of that attitude and try to tell those that are willing to listen. You don't have to be a great evangelist. I would say at this point in time, prayer is most needed. If you're really interested in traditionalists, why don't you join the camp of the traditional mystics like St. Catherine of Siena, who resisted corruption through prayer and then she spoke, who got close to the Lord? Why not join hands with all of the other very reverent liturgies and rites like the Byzantine rite? And why don't you uphold tradition in its entirety, not just a particular way to say the Mass? Then we'd be talking. What about the tradition of praying a lot? That tradition. What about the tradition of the approved apparitions of Mary, who didn't say much about the liturgy as much about prayer and penance? Something that would keep us together, keep us focused, and not divide people that are Orthodox, not divide the Orthodox Catholics. We can divide as much away from the liberals as we want, but not the Orthodox. Stop beating up other Orthodox devout Catholics over technicalities, please. And together we can all do this. We can all have a great difference. We already see a great difference from those that pray, like those on this channel. So if you actually want to resist, you want to resist intelligently, then begin a life of serious prayer. You can join us here praying the contemplative prayer of the Sacred Heart and the morning and evening prayers. Pick up your rosary and pray your rosary more than mouthing off and acting like a pseudo amateur journalist on every comment section. And this is why you're blind, in fact, because without prayer, you can't see the priorities. I see all these people that have these priorities jacked up in their own little worlds are not people that are praying, because the Holy Spirit, if you let the Holy Spirit in, he will give you the eyes to know what the will of God is for your life. He will give you the eyes to know what to do during these times. Not all of this speculation and chicken little behavior and theories about what you think is going to save the church, which isn't grounded on anything I've seen concrete yet. So that's my rant, and I'm not going to be completely negative on my broadcast. I'm going to try to suggest more of what we can do. I want to build you guys up. I don't want you stuck in your despair. I don't want you stuck in your Donatism, which is a heresy that you have to have the perfect priests in church, which is weird because at the same time you admit that it isn't perfect at all, and yet you want, I don't know. And I don't want you stuck in Gnosticism thinking that, a rite of the church is some secret salvific knowledge and Latin mass yourself out of the church and become a schismatic. And I don't want you caught up in quietism where you just think you can just stick your head in the sand, pray everything away and ignore it. And lastly, just use a little bit of prayer, use your brain, and let's actually resist before we get completely overwhelmed by what's coming. Take care. Hope to see you there, and God bless.